Welcome to Now for Someone Completely Interesting. I'm your host, Ben Poulin. When I came up with the idea for this show, I made a list of potential guests, and one of the names on that list is my guest today. Now, we've spoken several times about getting together for this podcast, and I'm excited that it's finally happening, and for good reason. Brenda Rosychuk is very involved with our community in several areas. We know her very well from the MS Society to her fitness business, AbSOULutely You Fitness, which both subjects we're going to talk a little bit more about later on. But I've also chosen kind of a location here that we mutually enjoy for many reasons. The Lakeland. We see each other here a lot. At
Maybe every Friday? I don't know.
Yeah, at the Lakeland. It's a family-friendly place, and it's a good way to kind of kick off your weekend. It's the Lakeland Brewing Company. So pleased to welcome to Now for Someone Completely Interesting, Brenda Rosychuk. Thank you so much for joining us and agreeing to do this.
Thank you so much for having me and asking. It's an honor.
Well, thank you. So let's start off. Let's get to know you a little bit. I've known you for a few years here through the community and stuff, but you're not originally from St. Paul. So tell me a little bit about maybe where you grew up and what brought you here.
Well, I was born and raised in Spiritwood, Saskatchewan, and lived there till the age of 12. And then we moved to Stettler, Alberta, where I completed high school. And from there, I moved to... Do you want the whole Coles notes or?
What this is your show, really?
Sounds good. My show. Oh, geez. But then from Stettler, after graduation, I moved to Red Deer to attend Red Deer College. I took my first year of kinesiology, and then soon realized that I did not want to become a phys ed teacher as originally planned, that I actually wanted to work more closely with people one-on-one. So I took my rehabilitation practitioner diploma. And then I was in Red Deer for 10 years approximately, until I met my husband. And then I moved to Edmonton for a few years. And in 2011, I moved to St. Paul.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of how I got to know you was through your husband, because we played hockey against each other and with each other here through, the competitive world of beer league hockey. But,
yes.
How did you guys meet?
Oh, Ben.
Sorry.
Actually, we met online.
Okay.
And, it was like he came to Red Deer for a blind date, basically. And we've been together ever since. And the success of it, I think, is beautiful. Like you can meet people online, and the magic can happen. So
it's a common story nowadays.
It
so
is.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I think like 13 years ago it wasn't as common.
Right.
So we were like talking through MSN Messenger. Like that was how we were communicating earlier on, and here we are today.
So what did bring you to St. Paul then?
Well, my husband, for sure.
Sorry, yes.
Nathan was living here at the time, so I was living in Edmonton, working at the University Hospital. I was an occupational therapy assistant for several years, and he actually kind of gave me the nudge. He had cut out an ad in the paper and was like, "Hey, like the MS Society is hiring a part-time position. You should move here." And of course, we wanted to be closer together. We had a house in Edmonton together that he had been flipping, and it was going to be up for sale. So it really made sense for me to move here and to start fresh in this community. And so I applied for the position, and I actually was granted the job on my birthday in 2011, April 18th. So I moved here on May 6th, and then the walk was on May 8th.
So you had 2 days to move and organize what's become a pretty big event in the community.
I moved here May 6th. So that's actually my sister. That's my sister's birthday. And then on the 8th was my first experience with MS Walk. And I put in my volunteer hours for that day because I wasn't officially an employee.
Right.
I started on the 9th of May. But I mean that first experience with MS Walk is, I think, one of the reasons why my passion is so huge. It was just, like moving here from the city. I grew up obviously in a small town, 2 small towns, and coming back to a small town, it felt comfortable, but I was also, coming out of the city, things are different, urban versus rural. And when I walked into the St. Paul Rec Center that morning, I never expected to feel the experience that I did. The welcome from the community, from the MS staff that were here at the time, from all of the committee members, to the people living with MS. I met one of my closest friends that day, and I mean, it's just it was like a goosebump experience that I think you get every single year at like the morning of the MS walk.
It definitely, we're very lucky that you were offered the job and continued on, because I think that's become a staple in this community with the MS walk. So, but tell us, the way it's grown and the way people around it and everything like that, it's not just the MS walk that you guys do as a fundraiser. We talked a little bit about one of the reasons why we chose the Lakeland Brewing Company was not just because we enjoy coming in as patrons, but because it's just another way that the community has gotten behind something like this. Is that something you kind of pursued to grow with this event?
Oh, absolutely. I think coming into the community and seeing how many people are actually affected by MS, it really blew my mind. And when I first started, I can definitely say that it was a job for me, but it quickly turned into a passion. And I just got goosebumps. But meeting the people and having the conversations, building the rapport with people living with MS in the community and in the Lakeland, because my position encompassed the Lakeland at the time, like 65 towns. And so being able to be involved, I really knew that, we needed to increase our awareness. We needed to raise more money for people living with MS, because the variation with the disease is so broad. I've never really met two people that have the exact same symptoms. And for me, knowing all of this and just seeing the incredible people that I had the pleasure of working alongside, I knew that the community needed a little bit more. And so obviously connection for me is huge in anything that I do. And I truly believe that, partnering with people and businesses and community and in the community, it really made sense to heighten the awareness and heighten the funds raised and to be able to give back and help those who truly need it. And, obviously Lakeland Brewing Company Colin, Tanya, Prosney have been a huge part of that. And like Sean and Charmin Sake from the Cooperators, Sake Insurance, and the passion behind all of it wasn't just because they wanted to get their names out there in the community. They actually wanted to be connected to the community in a way that could help people. And being able to do the events that we've done in the past, like when I first started with the MS, like here in town, I really wanted to do a golf tournament. I was working part-time at the golf course, and my love of golf came in. My husband's an avid golfer. It just kind of made sense to leverage golf and MS together, because people enjoying themselves, having a really good time, but having that connection in the community and knowing that they're giving back. So our tee off for MS golf tournament, the year we started that, I think it's just kind of spiraled year after year, and being a success because of the people in our community and because of the participants that we've had. And obviously here at the brewery, being able to do comic relief for MS, that was a huge hit. And Colin and I talked about it, worried about how many tickets we're going to sell. And then we had to worry about we need more chairs. Can we fit these people in here?
I was there for that event, and there was no room in here.
Yes.
But it is funny, you kind of mentioned a few of these events. Now, when you first came, was it just the MS Walk that was kind of the main fundraiser, and you've kind of built on from that?
It was just the MS Walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So feather in your cap for that, for adding on the golf tournament. What other events have you guys done? These are fun events for the community. It's not just fundraisers, right? They actually really bolster people having fun, getting together, and it's more than just this one goal, I guess.
And I think the theme behind all of it is that our why we're there.
Right.
It's obviously for people living with and affected by MS. And, I can't say that it was just me that did all of these events, because obviously, my really close friend, Corinne Latosky, MS hits with her, and we kind of helped create that event together. And, it's a beautiful thing when when you can come together for a common reason, a common goal, you're still able to create that connection. You're able to fuel a fire in people. I've seen people attend events in the past. Actually, I'm going to give an example. So I was actually able to attend in-person third-party fundraiser in Innisfil, Alberta, this past September. And it was, I tell you, not being in person with people at an event in a long time, man, my passion was fueled, like, intense that day. And there was a gentleman there who, he woke up that morning, he got a phone call from a friend, and the friend was like, hey, we need a fourth on our golf team. Like, can you help us out? Can you join us? I don't even think he knew it was an MS golf tournament.
Right.
So he came, got involved, and at the end of the day, like, you could see he was actually teamed up with a foursome where the mother lived with MS, and he could see the direct reflection of how that has affected her life and her family's life. And I think just golfing that 18 holes, he began to learn about MS and know what, like, he learned why he was there that day. And he said that he actually came up at the end of the day and he made a speech in front of everyone saying that he didn't know about MS until that day. So I mean, like, we're creating awareness, and like, it's just so amazing to see that ripple effect. Because there's people in our area who are newly diagnosed who maybe didn't know about MS before they were even diagnosed.
It's actually it's one of those kind of under the radar situations. I know off the top of my head 3 people that I know personally,
and that's the thing.
It's almost alarming. It's almost, there's a lot of focus on things like cancer and stuff like that, but this is almost as, if not even more so, affecting people that are around us. And it's and I think definitely what you guys are doing here. Did you find it was I hate dwelling on this pandemic that's been hanging over our heads, but I mean it's
okay to dwell on it,
like, I guess did it affect a lot of what you guys were doing and how you were able to get the message out and the fundraising and stuff like that?
Absolutely. It definitely affected our organization, like, as a national program, like as a national society, 100%. We use the word pivot a lot within the organization, and it's a word that we don't like to use anymore because, like, I think we're kind of done pivoting. You know, we've been, like, shifting into doing things, and you're talking about the people, like 1 in 400 Canadians live with MS. Like, the numbers are high. Like, the 90,000 Canadians are living with MS, and the ripple effect of that, right? So you see it all around. And so it's not just here within St. Paul and the Lakeland region. Everywhere across Canada is affected by MS, and the pandemic definitely halted a lot of things. It kind of took away that physical human connection that you could have with people. And me personally, like, speaking for myself, like, pivoting and working from home now for, it'll be, actually, what's the date? So tomorrow will be 2 years. 100%. For me, 2 years.
Yeah. Isn't that
March
crazy?
13th. It was actually Friday the 13th was my first day working from home.
Right.
So the shift to doing that, I'm used to being in an office, and I'm used to people coming in and connecting. I'm used to going out and talking with our sponsors, and I'm used to, like, having conversations at community support groups with people. Like, I was very involved and very like physically connected, like, to people, like, and having to do a lot of the stuff online, it really created a lot of growth for me, because having to still have those connections, we can still do that. It took me a little bit to learn that. I definitely had, I would say, many moments of complete shutdown and not being able to, knowing that I'm not able to execute the role that I used to do was super hard on me. Like, I took that personally.
Right.
And, like, if I'm not able to go out there and make a difference every day, like, am I even doing my job?
Right.
Like, so, I had many conversations with like coworkers and my boss, and like knowing that we still have to keep moving forward because MS isn't stopping.
That's right.
Right? MS is still here during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
People are still going through all of the things that they used to. So I think it's just creating a little bit of a shift within myself to know that this growth was needed, and for myself and for the organization, because now we know, like, we can do things virtually. Say somebody who couldn't come to our support group 4 years ago because, mobility reasons or not able to leave the house, like, they can now connect online at our coffee groups.
Right.
Like, I think being able to collide in that way and having, like, there's a silver lining 100%, because we had to become innovative. We had to, learn new skills. We had to, there's for all the 11 or 12 people on our walk team, I've never met one of them in person before. And connection for me is huge.
There you go, yeah.
And, it's being able to, have those, the Zoom options. And yes, you get fatigue from that too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you definitely do. So it's making sure, for myself anyways, making sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do to be able to fill my cup up as well. Like, I get energy from people.
Right.
And if I'm at home by myself, energy in a room. Like, sometimes I go to the grocery store or to the post office just so I can see people.
I'm the same way.
And I need to do that. Like, it feels good to have a conversation with someone. Maybe you don't know them, or maybe it's just the lady at the cashier,
right,
or the lady at the post office. Like,
I hate grocery shopping, but I go with my wife anyways, because you might see someone and get that little, especially the way things have been very limited.
Yeah, and it's just like taking breaks when you need to. And, I think, working from home has also brought on a lot of I don't even know what the word is. Like, you guilt that you need to sit at your desk for 8 straight hours. Like, in the very beginning, like, I felt very tied to my desk.
Right.
And I felt like, I'm sitting here, I'm serving a purpose, I'm online, like, I need to be available, all of these things. But I think you learn over time that working from home, like, it's you got to give and take. That,
That's right.
You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
I know it's hard to believe, with the amount of time and effort and passion you put in with the MS Society, that you actually have some other stuff on the go as well. I think I find it hard to believe. But I want to bring up there, because you mentioned too, you have a Facebook page, AbSOULutely You Fitness, and your Instagram is AbSOULutely You Wellness. But the company, it's your business, is AbSOULutely You Fitness. Now, we got to, I guess, talk a little bit about the way it's spelled out, because that's part of the the motivation in the business itself. So it's AB, capital S, capital O, capital U, capital L, Soul.
Yeah.
Absolutely You Fitness. So tell us a little bit about this endeavor of yours.
Well, it would have been about the same time. It's too funny. I brought a rock because, like, when I'm nervous, I have to, like, have something in my hand, and it broke. I hope that doesn't mean anything.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm gonna look into that after.
All right. We'll get you another one if we can find one.
But so AbSOULutely You Fitness kind of was born. I would say about shortly after I moved here. I didn't know a whole lot of people, and as you know, I like to be connected to people, and I'm a social person. So I really was into sports all growing up. Like, I was an athlete, and movement was huge for me. And when I moved here, I like, one of my closest friends now, Brianna Malcolmson, and I were like, hey, we worked at the golf course together at that time, and we said, hey, let's take our group fitness, and we wanted to teach spin. So we took our course together, and quickly into it, like, fitness for me was like, it was kind of selfish at the time. Like, I wanted to lose weight, I wanted to get fit, and I wanted to meet some people.
Right.
And very quickly learned that it was all about community for me. And the people that were attending my classes, I was getting to know them, I was getting to know their families, and being in a room knowing that like you can sweat together, you can be vulnerable together. And I think it kind of like turned into something special for me, being connected to people in the community and being able to empower and inspire women to be the best versions of themselves. It was a no-brainer. And then in 2014, we had our daughter Cameron, and so I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Well, right after that, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression.
Okay.
A few weeks after she was born, and then a few weeks after that, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And so fitness for me kind of, I'm going to use the word shifted again, because fitness for me shifted because I realized that the number one muscle that I needed to actually work out in my body was my brain. And I needed to take care of myself mentally from the inside out before I could take care of the people who I loved around me. Right. And like you guys, you know this, like my husband and my daughter he's my rock, she's my why. You know, they're the very reason that, you know, I strive to do well, is because I want to be a role model for my daughter. And my husband is one of my biggest supporters, And so the shift after having my daughter was, you know what? I think it was a gift, because I could have taken it two ways, but like knowing that she was our gift to start off with, but then she fueled something inside of me that helped me become more creative and be able to turn, you know, what my passion of fitness was into being like fitness and wellness. Right. The collision of that together, I think, is beautiful. And, you know, collaboration with different practitioners and different instructors and leaders for me is super important, because I can't do it all. And I don't want to learn it all. And I think that's a beautiful thing when you can empower each other to be like, you're amazing. Like, can you help me? Yeah. Like what you do and what I do will come together and it will be special. And I think that is, you know, one of the number one things that we need to have with us is knowing that we need to take care of ourselves first before we can take care of anybody else around us. And yeah, I think the collision of those two things coming together for me was amazing. And it's, you know, it's been almost 10 years, and like fitness has changed so much in 10 years. And yeah, I'm very grateful to have the women and the people in the community that I do around, like, alongside of me. And like, you know, obviously I'm 100% thankful and grateful for Nathan and Cameron. And I think it's, I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does. And you brought up an interesting point that actually other people on this podcast have brought up when they're in a situation where they're you know, my last guest, running a business. It wasn't about being in control of everything. You know what you want your end result to be, and it's finding the right people to help you get there. Yeah. It's like, check your ego. You know what you know, but you also know what you don't know. And when you bring in the experts, it makes you look like a hero.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's that at the end of the day, like, you know, what I do for and I also organize and plan women's wellness retreats too, in person and online. And I think it's just like, no one is in the same spot ever, like mentally, physically, spiritually, and like no one is in the same spot at any given time. But if you bring all of the tools together, people can see what they need. Yeah. People can see who they resonate with. Like, people can understand and get that, you know, a lot of times too, people don't want to attend fitness because it's a fear for them to be around other women. And like the space that I'm trying to, and I have created, is the space that we're in is a vulnerable, like, you do as much as you need to do, whether it's like, if you want to say, if you want to do. And I think being empowered by the women around you and knowing that like you're like that woman or that person is there for themselves first, right? Then I think that the walls are being broken down of that, you know, comparison or whatever it may be, or fear of being around other women, or because it is out there and it's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
I think it affects everybody. I know there's an
Yes.
intimidation factor when you go to the gym for the first time.
100%.
Anything like
there
that,
is.
not knowing what you're doing and
Yep.
stuff like that, whether you're a male or female.
Yep.
It's yeah. But
And it's about being welcomed in a community.
Mhm.
And it's
And I
you're
think
here for you.
I think for the most part, if you do get over that initial fear in almost anything I've been involved with, I do the ultra distance running and stuff like that. Just yesterday, I did my first ever cross country ski event, which
Nice.
I finished dead last.
Oh well.
But I mean, it's for fun, anyways. But when you take that initial step and get over that,
Yeah.
you'll be surprised that even the people at the top of the game, the most elite, are very supportive of you being involved in that. They're not looking down on you, which I think is in the back of our mind that we question a lot of
Yeah.
times. Is that, well, they're judging me? No,
You're-
they're actually
judgment,
they're actually going to be
comparison,
probably your biggest
fear.
fans. Like
Exactly. That's
so-
why those walls need to be brought down.
Yeah,
And the time is now.
yeah,
And
for sure.
I feel like in men, women, anything that we do,
Yeah.
we need to. When you're your most vulnerable, that's when you're making
Yeah.
the biggest connections,
Mhm.
right? And being able to share a piece of you, and like taking that weight off. And once you do it, like it's just a ripple effect.
Yep, yep.
Right.
Absolutely, gets easier from there. But yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to one thing you said. You said fitness has changed over the last few years, and it made me think of something. Another, and it was something that was happening here at the Lakeland Brewing Company that you were a part of.
Oh yes, the squat and sip.
Yes.
Yes.
What better way to complement fitness than to have a beer with your fitness class? Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
I don't know if I should be promoting this band. No, I'm just kidding. No, I should be promoting this. Yeah. So I approached Colin years ago, and this was like, oh gosh, this has got to be at least, how old's LBC? 4 years? 5?
We're 2016, I think he opened up here.
Yeah. So it was
6 years.
Almost pre-pandemic.
Okay,
We'll call it
for
the
sure.
timeline. But yeah, so I approached him, and sometimes I get these like crazy ideas sometimes, and I just kind of roll with it. And I said, hey, what do you think about me using the golf room for a fitness class and having a beer? And so I named it Squat and Sip, and it was very successful. We could only fit, I think, about 8 people in there
Right.
at one time. But it was a lot of fun. And you know what? I think we should do it again.
I think so, because I had heard about it, and then the pandemic came, and I was like, well, now I can't investigate further. So please keep me in mind that
I
if
will,
you start
I
it up,
will.
I'd like to check this out. That's me breaking down my
I
barriers.
already have you
yeah.
on the list. Okay?
There we go.
Pre-registered.
You know what? We've covered a lot, and I don't think we've even scratched the main surface of what you have to offer as far as being someone who is completely interesting. So I think, though, we'll probably have to do this again sometime, because I think
Yeah.
there's a lot more that you can share with us and I think it's something that can help people, to be honest.
Well,
So
thanks.
yeah, no, I really appreciate that you agreed to come on the show. You say it's an honor to be here. It's an honor, absolute honor to have you and talk so openly and candidly about especially things with mental illness and stuff like that. It's not easy, right? So
No. Well, thank you.
I have one last question. I kind of gave you a warning. I was going to be asking a question. Now
Right.
I know you haven't heard enough of the podcast to know what's coming, but here it is. You are now here on this podcast as someone who is completely interesting. I want to know from you who you think should be on this podcast as someone completely interesting. If you could recommend a name.
Who I think is completely
Yes.
interesting. You know what's so funny that you are asking this question right now? Because earlier I was thinking of who could be on Ben's podcast next? I was literally thinking this at home as I was drinking coffee. And I think you should have Brianna Malcolmson on.
Okay.
She can talk about all of the things. She has so many ideas.
Okay.
And they have a new company, new business with their Backroad Farmhouse Coffee.
Excellent.
So there you go. There's a name for you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I appreciate that. So whether we have them on, it's up to them to come on, but we always, look for extending the invitation. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This is Brenda Rosychuk. So just to find out a little bit more, she's with the MS Society of Canada. They have their own Facebook page. The mswalk.ca, I think, is the website that promotes
MS Walks. There's an S.
MS Walks. Okay, thank you. So we'll make sure we have that correctly in our notes and everything like that. But of course, then there's the AbSOULutely You Fitness and AbSOULutely You Wellness. AbSOULutely You Fitness is your Facebook, and on Instagram it's AbSOULutely You Wellness. So did you do that on purpose, having the different?
No, you know what? I'm not very techie, so I've actually tried. Like I want the name to be AbSOULutely You Fitness and Wellness.
Okay.
So I tried changing the name on Facebook, but it wouldn't let me. It would only let me use like lowercase letters, and I wanted the uppercase letters.
I see.
I'm just letting it roll just like this.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
But it does encompass fitness, wellness, and just overall well-being. So once again, thank you so much. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you give us a like, give us a listen, share with your friends. You can find us by searching your favorite podcast provider, Poolin Radio, or Now for Someone Completely Interesting. Once again, she has been just that, Brenda Rosychuk.
Thanks, Ben.